these things are like all the stuff that I've talked about up until now. Keep that in mind because it's going to really help you kind of start off on your best foot. Because if you start with like a collective mind, I know this is probably a lot right now, so just like absorb it, kind of process it, try it out, and then if you guys have any questions after this, feel free to message me, DM me on my Instagram, or whatever. Yeah, but so with money, you need a distribution service. So I'll go into that real quick. So how are you distributing? So you need I don't know why they do this, but they won't accept music from individual people. That's why SoundCloud is very different. You can upload your stuff straight onto the platform, and you could still make money off of it. I have my own things against SoundCloud, but still useful tool. DistroKid, CD Baby, and TuneCore are paid services where you can distribute your music to a lot of the different distribution platforms. I use DistroKid, and I know that they distribute to Instagram, Spotify, Instagram, what do you call it? Snapchat and TikTok, as well as Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, Pandora, all those different places. So these are paid services, and you can do your own research on what you think is worth what. On the right side, those are free services. So these are things that you could just sign up and upload your music, and they release it in about 2 weeks. The difference between the two is control. So as I was talking about, control is very important for you because you can decide when things happen. And if you pay money, you can decide when you want your songs to be released. With Amuse and United Masters, they release within 2 weeks or in 2 weeks or maybe more. So that's kind of like the difference. But if you want to just start releasing music, which I do recommend, I think releasing music is the hardest part when you haven't released music at all. So you just finishing something and releasing. Amuse and United Masters are pretty good options. Amuse, I would say be careful because Amuse likes to, it's different because it's also record label. So if your song is doing well, they'll contact you and they'll offer you an advance. And they'll offer you, like, let's say your song is doing really good. They'll say like, okay, I'll give you $15,000. We'll be in this contract for 5 years. And I get to distribute your song on my platform, and you get 30% of the royalties. Sounds pretty cool because you get $15,000, but during those 5 years, if that song really does well, you're only getting 30% of it. So in the end, you'll most likely lose. If they're offering you that much money, you'll definitely lose. So just keep your eye out. I'll talk more about like the different scams and stuff that they can do to you, but yeah, these are pretty good ones that are pretty well known. The second, so these are collect your mechanical royalties. So it's 3 different types of royalties. Yeah. The first one's mechanical. And that's just people streaming your music, gives the platform money. The platform gives you the money back. So that's your mechanical money. Performance royalties are money that you deserve, money that you are owed for performances. So if you perform the song or other bands perform the song, or if it gets played on the radio, or on TV commercials, movies, and stuff like that, those royalties get paid to these organizations, and that if you're signed up in one of these organizations, they go back to you. So I highly recommend setting it up to this. Amuse takes about a month. Okay, that's good to know. But so as far as I know, ASCAP is about is like $50, but you should pay $100 because it's money that you have to spend for ASCAP. BMI is free, as far as I know. Of course, there's the differences, but I'm with ASCAP, so I can't really say what the difference between them is. I would just recommend you do some research on which one you think fits you. But if it's free, why not just sign up for the other one? The last one is the Music Publishing Administration. They're basically collecting any other performance rights, performance royalties, performance-based royalties from different countries. So ASCAP and BMI work pretty exclusively in the US. So Songtrust is one that I've heard of. I'm sure there are other ones. I know TuneCore has its own thing, and CD Baby, I think, has its own thing. But Songtrust basically looks at all the other countries that are streaming your music on their radios and other platforms and stuff like that, and collects that and gives it to you at a cost. I think they take 30%, but it's money that you're probably not seeing anyways. So yeah, that's in order to maximize your profits off of streaming music, off the music that you put on platform, you should sign up for all three. Not these in necessarily all these companies. These are just the companies that I know of that I'm familiar with. All right, so that's that in terms of being cautious, in terms of earning money with it. So being cautious, there's a lot of different things out there. Because you are making money, inevitably there will be people who want to take that money from you, whether it is righteous or not, or if it's within for a good cause, or they straight up want to steal it from you. There will be people who want to take your money. And being amateurs in music, you can easily be taken advantage of. Luckily, I've been able to spot a lot of these in the beginning because I don't trust anyone. I have that problem. So so I'll show you some of the things that I've seen in my time. There's definitely, they're getting creative, more creative by the minute, but I will show you. So general rule, if it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. If they're offering you a lot of money when you think you don't deserve it, even though you like it, you should never try your hand at it. Just believe in your gut. So the first one, buying streams or followers. This is, I know it's like, it's the taboo, but I've had a lot of people, they just buy streams for themselves. And I'm like, what are you doing? This makes no sense. Why are you doing this to yourself? And it only gives you like dopamine for like 2 seconds, and then you realize what you've done to yourself. So if you buy streams and followers, essentially what that does, do I go through it here? Oh no. Is your song is going to get taken down off Spotify because they know bots are playing the song. It's really easy to identify if you go on your charts, so if a label kind of looks at your songs and say, oh yeah, on this day you got 50,000 streams in one day and then it fell off the next day, yeah, you're not going to be a good candidate. It also kind of, because Spotify works with algorithms a lot, kind of like doing stuff on their own, you'll basically not be a good candidate for like playlisting or just in general pushing out your song, because they'll see that you're willing to kind of try and cheat the system, and anything that's not genuine they don't like. So mixtape slot, I don't know if anybody's like a rapper here. If you look to that Instagram DM on the right, there was one with they use accounts of like pretty well-known rappers. Obviously somebody else is running the account, and they act like they're interested in you as an artist and offer you a slot on a mixtape. It's pretty cool to have a celebrity. Okay, just know celebrities they're nothing. Okay, you don't have to hold them to a higher standard, especially if they do stuff like this. You have to be ready to be skeptical about the messages that they're sending. $650 for a slot on a mixtape that they're not going to promote at all. A huge loss. That's a $650 loss right there immediately as soon as you pay. You might get put on a mixtape, but I don't think it's not going to be promoted. It's not going to have a good play value, because if you can just buy a slot onto a mixtape, think about what kind of people are buying into it. So if anybody can just buy a place into a playlist, so I have that next, but into a playlist, into a slot, you know that that everything that comes after is not going to be as good of an investment. Playlisting, I said it a little bit, but if you're paying for a slot onto their playlist is not genuine. That's also a version of payola that that's not allowed under the Spotify terms and conditions. I put the asterisk there because industry people still do this, but generally you want to get on playlists that want you to be on their playlist because it fits with their playlist. If you do that, you get people who listen to you because they listen to other artists and on that playlist, and you share a similar sound. You see how that kind of like it meshes together a lot easier, and you grow a lot more organically that way. And influencer pods, you probably have not gotten these messages, but they'll offer you a slot in a group. So what they want to do is kind of boost the algorithm by getting people with blue check marks to interact with your stuff. So if you get those kind of people to interact and engage with your content, what Instagram or like these other places will do is theoretically it'll boost your content. So you'll get on the explore page, or you'll get like 100,000 likes on your image, on your thing, but you have to pay like $100 to get in. It's a scam. It doesn't work like that. And Instagram knows exactly what's happening, and they will shadow ban you straight up. If you have to pay to get into something like that, it's not worth it. So Spotify playlisting, so I said that a lot of people pay for getting on playlists. So if you watch Patrick CC, he does this, where he looks for playlists that match the sound. So this is a little different because you're not going to websites that say, oh, I'll playlist your thing and then move on. You propose to a playlister this is like, I don't think you should do it because it's kind of a waste of your time. But you could propose to a playlister, it's like, hey, I got this song. It matches with all this, and this. What do you think about like putting my song on your top 10 of this playlist? And you can negotiate from there. Most likely they'll have a price in mind and will reject your song if it doesn't fit. So those are pretty good. The trouble with that is like you have to research if the playlist is legit, because there's a lot of fake playlists out there. All right, so some alternatives to playlisting, instead of like playlisting services, playlist submission. So if once you start releasing your music on DistroKid or Repost by SoundCloud, TuneCore, Amuse, you'll have to claim your Spotify page, Spotify for Artists page. And you can do that on the Spotify website. Once you do that, you'll have access to like your stats and what songs you've released and what songs you are about to release. And when you do that, you can also pitch one of the songs that you're about to release to the editors. And what's good with that is you have potential to get into one of these like three of many different curated playlists that they have. And that is insane growth potential for that specific song. But yes, so doing that is a better option. Another playlisting opportunity is Submit Hub, which is a little bit of money, but you present your content to these curators, influencers, playlisters, Twitch streamers, and you say, this is my song. If you like it, use it. Most of the time it's a no, but it's a lot better deal and it's more organic this way. Playlist Hunter is a service where you can pay to see the contact info of people with playlists. YouTube Curators, I think is a really good one. Where do you guys know like Chilled Cow or I think they now go by Lo-Fi Girl. I know Ambition, Chilled Nation or Trap Nation, Mr. Suicide Sheep. Like those YouTube curators, they just get submissions and then they put the song out on YouTube. So yeah, Lo-Fi Beats to Chill Study 2. Those things are really good for people for like audience members who are looking for music to listen to. They will go to YouTube because YouTube is the #1 music streaming platform. Yeah, my songs got onto Ambition's playlist and it did insane numbers. And yeah, so I heavily recommend reaching out to YouTube curators and submitting to their stuff, even at the expense of let them monetize it on YouTube. You know, I think it's a good idea to just let your music kind of run wild on the internet. Let people use it in their content. Let YouTubers, don't let them claim that it's their song. Like that's where I draw the line. Like if you if I see freaking Garvin dash How to Live, I'm just like, I'm gonna call him and try to sue him if he's making money off of it. But it's generally a good idea to kind of like let people use your music, because that's how people hear it and that's how people discover you and that's how you get more listeners. Blogs is the same thing as YouTube curators. It has a lot of growth potential because they can actually write something about you. Something else to be skeptical about is labels and record deals. So we're probably not at this stage yet, but once we have taken the stuff that I have presented into and projected it into your reality, so you have now created a brand, record labels and um, different the companies will probably start looking at you and probably offer you deals. You'll probably see contracts. I've seen a good amount of contracts. And the biggest advice is to get a lawyer whenever you see a contract, because almost all the time they're going to try to get the most out of you. They're a company and they want to make money. And you're a pretty good content creator, so they're going to want to take advantage of that. So make sure you're getting a lawyer, or like a manager, or someone who's pretty learned in that space to kind of give you advice on how to move forward. It's see if the contract is fair. If you want to see how much they're ripping you off, you can check the record deal simulator. I'll kind of break down exactly basically what they usually do is they give you an advance. So they say, okay, let's sign you for 3 albums. So I want to buy 3 albums off of you, and I will pay $1 million. I'll give you $1 million to do 3 albums. You say, oh my God, I've never seen that much cash in my life. I'll take that deal. So now you're locked into $1 million for 3 albums. What does that mean? So the 1 million that you're receiving as an advance is technically a loan. So they're giving to you, keeping in mind that you're going to make that back and more. So when you release music for Warner Music or Sony or something like that, you are not going to make any money until you make over $1 million. So if you look on a stream calculator and see how many streams you need for $1 million, that's how many streams you need. If we're just focusing on streams. And then after that, they also take a cut of your royalties. So I think the worst one that I saw was Megan Thee Stallion. They took 60% of her royalties and 30% of merchandise, 30% of tour. So they're like, if you were stuck in that deal, you wouldn't make anything for a long time, or however long it takes for you to get $1 million. I have not gotten $1 million off my music. And then after that, you're only going to get 30% of your actual streams. So making sure you have a fair contract with a distribution or with a record label is very, very important, even at the cost of not getting the deal. Because if they're giving you that deal and they drop out after you say, hey, this is not fair, they were only asking you to take advantage of you. And this is not just with the big 3, it's with like all the record labels. So you have to be a little bit cautious with that. What kind of lawyer and how do you find one? You want a music business lawyer. There are a lot of resources online to find stuff where they will you could pay a fee and then they'll review the contract and then get back to you. So it doesn't have to be like a very, very official process. But the only thing is it is a bit pricey, but like $100 is better than getting stuck owing $1 million, right? Yeah, so there's a lot of resources online that you could check out. And when you are trying to sign a deal with somebody, whether it's a distribution or publishing deal or a record deal, you want to keep in mind, what kind of relationship do you want? Do you want I mean, for me, I'd want the most control. So I don't want them to own anything. I want to own everything. So when I leave the label or something, I want to have ownership of my own music. I want to be able to have creative control on how I see the music coming out. The thing with Megan Thee Stallion, like with her, the label owned her music. So essentially, she wanted to release music, and she found out that she was in a bad deal, and her label basically says like, oh, okay, if you're gonna say you're in a bad deal, you can't release music anymore. And then it was just like that. She can't release music. She was stuck in the deal because she owed money to the record label, and she had no control over like what to do with herself as an artist. So this is what you call a bad deal. That's a no. Learn from other people's mistakes. um Lo-fi fruits uh a it's a meme, and a lot of people think that it's like a laundering organization where they launder money, but they basically recruit like very young lo-fi producers, tell them to make like very bad beats, and give them like no money out of it, and then they kick them out, and they have no way of like fighting back because they signed a deal. The contract basically says everything. So be careful with this. Lawyer is good.